YouTube.
Broadcast is live now. Are you saying YouTube's not live now?
Okay, yeah, it says YouTube is not live. So here we are. Oh my God, we're live. People are watching us. Yeah,
And the moon is over your shoulder. That is not a white smudge on
that
your
is
window.
the moon. Yes, this. There we go. That is the moon.
People
full
better have
moon.
questions because I'm
Yeah,
mentally not.
not that moon, a different moon.
Oh no,
Craig
we do
Martelle
not.
coming to you. It is Sunday. Craig Martelle coming to you live from the subarctic where it's dark, and it will get kind of less dark until it gets dark again. And now it's cold too. It's -3 Fahrenheit today. First day of our adventures below 0 Fahrenheit.
How long have you been back in Alaska now? Is it 1 week or 2 weeks?
It's 12 days, almost 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. I lose track of time, but it's like you were
Sunday.
just here.
I was, and I should get my second COVID test results today with my negative, so then I can go deliver the Halloween candy to the neighbors because they didn't come yesterday. So, and I don't want this candy in the house, so I'm going to get bags and go hang them on their doorknobs. Freaking candy.
So does that mean that vicariously I get to believe that I'm COVID free since you've had a test and I was around you a lot? Ergo,
Yes, clearly. I mean, it's not like we were playing Smoochie Face or anything, but still, I mean,
we weren't
we
even
were
doing it in actual fact. We weren't
we
playing
were,
it or doing it in actual fact.
but we were in your car together, and I think that's probably as close to enclosed air as you're going to get. Even though we didn't drive all the way up to Area 51, because you could have made it in lightning speed.
I don't need another ticket. I've yet to get any other ticket than going with you, Mike, to Area 51. I saw some of the pictures, by the way. I found some of our pictures. You know, like I've got the pictures on the walls in the house here, and I went searching because you never actually set up a time to allow me to take more pictures with you, even though I said it multiple effing times.
You did, and then we didn't.
Yeah, you're right. I keep saying that same song, singing that same song, Anderle, because it's not happening. So I'm just gonna have to go back to the old ones where shit's happening.
So here we are, and today I thought we'd talk about reader relationships because I know that's really important, and that's one of the things that you excelled at right away. And when I started building readers, I'd respond to emails, and I still do. If I get emails from readers, I'll respond to them and maintain that relationship, maintain a conversation. I forget to post on my Facebook author page as much as I should, but I'm trying to get like one post a day or something like that just to keep the readers, hey, I'm still here, still writing, and here, this is interesting to me today. Something as simple as that.
I was looking at this morning, so I really wish, all things considered, I don't know how far you want to get into this before we bring it up, but I do believe that there are different tactical methodology or strategies, I should say, for authors to try to hit it big. One of those ways is to become a sea amongst yourself, but one of the requirements, heavy duty requirements, if you're going to do that, is to have a lot of interaction, and lot is very questionable, of interaction with your fans. Because when you build that, they in turn have a relationship with you, and they will do things like, and I've had this happen, talk about your books inside of a bank line or at the grocery store or wherever, because they love the stories that you're doing, because they love you. They become fanatics, fans, right, of your stuff, and that's because of connecting with readers.
Yeah, they become your super fans. They're your street team. A lot of people have formal street teams, but it's better if it's not formal. If it's just a group of people who are going to get the word out about your books and and their fans. I know Chris Kennedy does a great job at this. David Weber as well, in that he has people who will cosplay his characters, and they have a formal legion of the Honor Harrington, of the Manicorian guard. I'm not sure what they're called, but yeah, the troops. So those kinds of things, and that's where that relationship, and he will get his pictures taken with them in their cosplay uniforms, and Chris does as well, and they share and they have a good time at the shows. Well, we can't do shows this year, but still there's other things you can do to keep your fans engaged. So now it has to be online. So you jump online, maybe get dressed up. Yesterday was Halloween. Put on your cosplay gear and share.
Yeah, absolutely. I like one of the I see Facebook user, but they mentioned that so glad Arizona doesn't do the time change, and I was too. I was glad. Actually, we do it here in Henderson. You're in wonderful Alaska. I'm in Henderson, right outside of the wonderful Las Vegas, where I'm not on the strip anymore. Thank you, COVID. And so, phew, I don't know where I was going with that. Okay, take it back, Craig.
We haven't sworn yet, so there, Elaine.
Yet.
We'll try not to, but you know us. You probably know better.
Well, we know you. You've become much worse than myself, even though I got some rude one-star reviews lately about people being shocked that I had cursed in one of my books. I don't know where they got. I don't know how I have a fan that doesn't know that I curse. It must have come from a couple of the more genteel series that I've done, because I have a really hard time writing 3 pages of any sort of language without adding a descriptive word in there, usually 4 letters.
Yeah, I've got no idea how they could get into your universe and not be aware. But they were, and they were outraged, and they're not coming back. Okay, well, yeah, that's why the disclaimer's on the blurb. But the relationship with the readers, the it's not just I cosplay. It's what are you doing for this character, for this world, for this universe, and the engagement. I'm always asking fans for names. Give me a name of a happy guy, a bad guy, you know, things like that. An alien, a four-headed alien, whatever it might be. Just throw things out there and get them engaged, and then give them a shout out in the end of the book. And I've built that core readership and that core street team. I think that's the best way to look at it. Those folks who will take your work and then give you honest feedback, especially if you try to change gears and go in a different direction. Like I did with the thriller, my new thriller that turns out it might be romantic suspense a little bit, and enough to market to those readers. But putting that out there, it was different, and then getting the feedback that, hey, I love this, or hey, this is a little bit different. Okay, let's not market to that sector of the readers, and keeping them engaged on board, and getting them excited about the stuff you're doing by being excited about what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when should a person get ready and start trying to grab readership, and who are unlikely targets for becoming part of your readership? I argue that it's your mother's, father's, cousins, brothers, sisters, and family you should not be trying to engage.
And those are going to be the first people you engage always, because you don't know anybody else. Hey, I want to write a book. Yeah, good, nice, and go away. Uh, everybody says that. Very few people follow through. Now, if you look at us, and if you're in 20 books, now you know a lot of authors. So it's a little bit different. But you don't want authors either, really. You want readers, people who are readers, because that's the big thing. People who are reading this genre, most importantly. Unless you genre hop, then, well, hey, you just want a broad variety of readers. Hey, this one works with this readership. It doesn't work with this one. So I have a nice variety of readers that I can ask to read a book ahead of time, and I almost always get a positive response of, yes, I would love to read that book, and they'll drop what they're doing, and I really appreciate that. And I've sent gifts out, I've sent gift cards out, I've sent those kinds of things to keep them, just to know that I appreciate it. Your time is as valuable as my time, in however you invest it. And that's, as an entertainer, we're asking them for time. More importantly, the $2.99 and $4.99 for most people is a trivial sum, or even $9.99 for a Kindle Unlimited membership, and they read 30 books a month. That's a total bargain. So that's their investment is in their time, and not necessarily the money. And so this is what you're asking of them, and that's kind of a big deal, because you only have a finite amount of time in your day, in your week, in your life. So how do you want to invest it? And this is where you want to marry up with those readers who want to invest it in something that you're pushing, whether it's science fiction and escape, whether it's urban fantasy, whether it's nonfiction. What are the things? So trying to push your books to people who aren't looking to invest that time or aren't willing to is a really, really tough sell. And that makes it almost too hard to do, where you're like, hey, I want people who are interested in World War I historical romantic unicorn urban fantasy. You, you
You were
might
good
have a
until
hard you might have a hard time, and you might be beating your head against the wall trying to find those readers. Whereas you come up to a level, and it goes back to marketing: is where are the readers that will like? Is what is the most compelling element? Is it urban fantasy, World War I, World War II? Well, hey, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. You look at that. It's like, well, urban fantasy, but it was set in World War II. It was set in England, but still it came back to urban fantasy. It was great. You had animated lions, no peopling allowed. And it was a good story. So you look at C.S. Lewis and his Chronicles of Narnia. Well, what was that? How does that fit in? Well, what genre? And this is where he created that. And hey, we've got urban fantasy, if that's what you want to call it, or just pure fantasy. Or I don't know if C.S. Lewis ever categorized it himself, but the readers liked it. And this is where you get that as many readers as possible. And then your readers sell it for you. And this is more important when you're not in a very mainstream military sci-fi. Okay, that's simple. But you've got all these other elements. Now, this is where your readers can, and a lot of times the readers will come up with a better blurb than what I have, because they're like, oh, hey, it's this, and it does this for me, and it made me feel this. I want people to feel this. So just copy, paste, have a nice day.
Yeah, that's where it took me many, many months to come up with the whatever you thought you knew about vampires and werewolves is wrong. So very, very wrong. But that actually came from me reading the reviews and the comments from the readers themselves, because I didn't come up with that. It was reading enough comments when people were like, this is not like what you've seen. This is not like this. And it's like, oh, okay, I finally caught on to what they were distilling down for me. So that's really an incredibly important aspect of just being able to engage, finding better marketing with readers, because they're letting you know what tripped them, what caused them to actually do this and to read your books.
Yep. What was the hook? They will tell you the hook, and that's why reading reviews. If you don't read them yourself, somebody else read them to just help you and say, "Hey, somebody said this about your book, and that's cool." And
I feel
so
like you're
then
talking to me when you said that.
I might be. You get somebody else to read them for you to catch those good
I
things.
tried that one time. I was trying to explain to a person, like, okay, so I need you to read the reviews because personality wise, I really have a hard time with certain type of reviews, right? It just messes my day up, and there's just no good reason to do that. So I asked them, would you bring out the salient points? A little bit of back and forth. What does that mean? So what they did is they went and grabbed the worst part of the reviews that were the hardest biting and then labeled them right there. No, that's not what I meant. It's kind of like saying, would you please go find the parts where they stab me the best and then let me know those. Don't distill them. Don't explain, and take away the harsh words and explain maybe what they meant by it. No, no, no. Let's make sure all 12 inches of the steel, I feel it as the serrations on the top cruise through my bones. Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you got that going for you. So, so, so the positive ones, and one thing that we want to do today is Q&A. So please ask the Q's, and we'll spin up some A's.
So, do you believe there's every day that Amazon will get reviews? Reviews,
I
correct myself.
used to think so, but I think they've modified their process. Especially, I thought the reviews were all going to go over to Goodreads once they bought Goodreads and made
Hmm.
it their own.
That was years ago.
And yes, but this is Amazon, the behemoth. They take time, and they didn't invest heavily in Goodreads right away. But now the fact that on Amazon you can leave a star review without reviews, I think what they've done is they've incorporated the Goodreads into Amazon the product pages, as opposed to initially when a bunch of reviews went away and it looked like they're really hard to leave reviews, where I thought they were going to desensitize people to having reviews on the product pages. But now I think they've gone the other way, where hey, you don't have to leave a review, you can throw stars in there instead.
Okay.
So,
and do you believe that
so no, I don't think they'll do away with reviews.
Yeah, so just in general, I don't think Amazon will ever get rid of reviews, because it's so much of the purchasing process for whenever you don't actually have anything you can touch and feel. So virtually, it's not going to happen. I think that in just the fact of people communicating with other people and staying on Amazon's website. If Amazon wants you to be on Amazon, why would they then push you over to Goodreads when now you don't have to come back to Amazon? It's like, they're going to want to keep you there. That's better for actual sales, because when you finish with that review, you might either go buy another book, go buy something else, toilet paper right now.
Yep, keeping you on Amazon is just like going into Walmart. They want to keep you in Walmart until you buy something.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of history of like Google. Why did Google create the ability to have driverless cars? Why were they going down that path? And one of the big explanations was because Google makes money when you are on the internet, because you would end up using search and therefore you would click on something of theirs. So there's a viable reason. And I think that same strategy holds true for Amazon. What are they trying to do? Get you to be on Amazon and buy stuff. You don't have to use it, you just need to buy it. So anyway, those were my thoughts about the question. So are you reading the next question there, buddy?
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
All right. Did you come up with one?
I don't know if we can help. Let me pop it up, because
I've got one series I'm having trouble marketing, but it's decent reviews. The new book coming out, it's a similar genre. This will get engagement. Then it stopped. Okay. The new book is an urban fantasy. Jump from the newer, more popular book to the series that got 500K. Okay, so you have a couple of different things. One, it seems like what you're really suggesting is you have a second series that's popular. Well, urban fantasy, by the way, is a much bigger market. So the best thing you can do, of course, is that you're trying to get people to go from book one, and then when is two coming out? And by God, you had better be writing two and not five of the other one if two is taking off. I've seen so many people make this mistake and try to keep two series going when one of them is obviously hot. If money, mind you, this might not be what you're actually going for, but if income is your goal, you feed what is hot, you slow down what is not. Ooh, that rhymed. So feed what is hot, provide them a link to say, hey, my next book is, and give them a pre-order. Create one of those little wraparounds to say, cover coming soon, whatever's necessary. Give yourself more than enough time to finish the book, even if it's a month or months, and just say, hey, I'm going to put this out there in July, but the reality is as soon as I finish it, I'll pull it in, or as soon as I have a better idea, I'll pull it in. But get something out there so that you get them tagged for number two, and then discuss what's happening with your next series. Craig has a great example of this exact situation where he had a series that was rocking and rolling, but it was taking off, and that he felt very obligated, for good reason, to go back to a series and try to solve it for those. And then it took him 2 books to get the fans back. So, but yeah, I would put a link in the back of the book. I would put a pre-order, but I sure as heck wouldn't slow down series number 2 if that is the one that's doing well.
And that's it.
Oh, and I would change some genres. I would look at your genres. Use Kindlepreneur or the Rocket. What the hell is?
It's the Publisher Rocket now.
Publisher Rocket now. So I would look at Publisher Rocket, and I would see whether or not, because of what you're winning, you can either move some of your books and get them on ones that sort of connect. That would be one other idea. All right, now Craig.
The back matter. You give your readers every opportunity to find that book. But if book 1, 2 isn't doing well, and you're trying to funnel those readers over to the hot book, I wouldn't waste too much time struggling with a book that doesn't have a whole lot of readers. But if your hot series, you're trying to funnel them into the other books, then it comes down to back matter. Hey, did you like this story? Well, I have another series. While I'm working on the next story in this hot series that you like, I have another series that has a couple books. Go give me some love and take some time while I finish this next book. Give them a place to go. Give them hope for the next book, and stay on it. And the reason I took a break on the one series is I was kind of burned out after 5 books in like 3.5 months, and I had promised my readers, so I wrote another book, and I wrote it fast. I wrote 108,000 words in like 17 days. I think
You were
I wrote
walking
it.
on water at that time, man.
I wrote it, but yeah, it was, the money was rolling in. It was a great time, and then I got back to that original series and put book 6 out, and it didn't tank, but it was like, hey, it didn't go as high as book 5. What's going on? Then book 7 came out like 2 weeks after that. We rocked those books in that time, and then they both jumped up, and then 8 came out a month later, 9 came out a month later. 9 was like 120,000 words or something. It was ridiculous. But those that took it where it needed to go back to. But understand, if you've got something that's hot, feed the readers. They're the ones paying your salary. So if they're paying your salary on one book and one series, give them more of that. And yes, you have to keep your promises, because if you promise a different series, but be willing to push that off a little bit, but fulfill it when the time is right. And don't make promises you shouldn't keep. And then
So going
back
back,
matter on your website. Give the readers information to make decisions regarding your books. Sorry.
that is, what's your opinion on, I guess, my back matter? Because I have my own interpretation, but I wasn't, and while I was a whale reader, I wasn't as widely read, but I had done back matter. I did my author notes a lot different than what I had seen at the time, where I was a lot more conversational, a lot more engaging. And I always felt that, 100% of the people would at least have the book and have a chance to read any notes from me in the back of the book versus going to the website, seeing anything that I did there, Instagram, TikTok, name the social media du jour at the moment. So what are your ideas on the back matter and reader connection?
I think it's important to maintain that reader relationship. That's why I give them my website where I have updates, Amazon following, but most importantly, my Facebook author page, because I update that daily. I update my blog maybe once a week with something, and that's pull. That people have to go there to see the blog, whereas Facebook is push. As soon as they log on Facebook, they might see author Craig Martelle posted, and so you have push, which is easier because they just receive it, and pull, you have to pull them to you. That's a lot harder. So getting people to log on and check your blog every day, that's a little different. So author notes, give them the next book, give them other books, all of that in after the end. You give them the opportunity to form that relationship with you and your stories. If you only have a couple books, you want to let them know where those are. But also, you have to set yourself up for when you have 10 books, when you have even 5 books. And that's where Michael, probably after the first year, after keep updating the books, Michael's like, I'm just putting my website. and
Well, that wasn't even me. That was Stephen Campbell that did that because you were that was so funny, man. Back then, it's like the heyday of
yeah,
what was going on. But we were you, me, Martha Carr, all of us. We were just putting because we didn't know any better, right? So we were putting here's the book, here's the series, or actually here's the series, here's the book, or book
yeah,
2 and book 3, and then all of a sudden our list became pages long.
it's like 8 pages long in the back of the
Yeah,
book.
and a pain to keep up because you could never keep them up because you couldn't go back to the ones that you had released, 3 months ago and update those too well. So it became like, hey, if you'd like to understand what the latest one of them this is, here you go. But also a couple of things related to back matter, front matter. I wish I had done this. Did not. I don't know if you did, Craig, but you know, they put amazing advertisements for your email. I've always put these little links. Hey, if you'd like to be in my email, do this. No, we're talking we're talking not cartoons per se, but certainly images, and maybe they're just black and white images to get people's attention to really draw them into your email list. A great example, and the one that I frankly I clued in on, Then I harassed a friend of ours by the name of Mike Bray, and he goes, "Yeah, we've been doing that too." And I'm like, "You a-hole, why isn't this something you mentioned?" But get early bird discount, early bird release or something from Open Road Media. Go in any of their books and look, and you will see this massive, thoroughly thoroughly reproducible style of getting, requesting people to connect you with your email list. It's fantastic.
Yep. Yep. Make them, yeah, give them something. I give a full book now for people who join my newsletter list, and I'm adding 500 a month, over 500 a month,
Yeah, fantastic.
and
Um,
keeping. I mean, the vast majority of them. I'm keeping probably 85% by the end of the onboarding sequence. So that's 500 that stay on board, and I'm paying. I think I'm up to about 51 cents. I was down at 36 cents a name, and it's slowed down a little bit, but not that much considering the election and all the other
yeah, I was going to
bullshit
say,
going
I,
on.
yeah, I think that's just, it will be interesting to see what happens whenever everything clears, which unfortunately, I guess I'm cynical. I don't believe it's going to happen next week, but it would be nice if it would go away.
Yeah, it
Um,
would be nice.
yeah, it'd be nice, just freaking give us I don't, it's getting so bad now that I don't even care if the person who's the opposite of who I care to win wins. I don't care. I'm just like, freaking go
just,
away.
just everybody stop. Everybody stop screaming.
Yes.
Please stop yelling. Like my
Yeah.
first marriage.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah,
Hey, Vinny, we need to talk again. I saw that he was down there.
there's no comeback to that.
Yeah,
We
no,
need
there's well,
we need questions. We need questions. But I'm ready. I'm working on 3 books simultaneously, and let me say that's a little bit of a challenge because all 3 of them are full length. The one is a co-author with Gene Rabe. It's Sword and
amazing.
Sorcery. It's really cool. It's Robert E. Howard. Uh,
Don't curse. Don't
Reborn.
curse.
Yeah, no court. Yeah. Wenches. We have wenches, and
We have winches. Now we have horse.
the the so I write a chapter and then send it to her, and she will edit that chapter and then write the next chapter. I'll edit her chapter and then go into the and then write my chapter, and it's been going back and forth. Like we're doing 2 chapters a week. We've got 10 done. The outline is what 25, 27 chapters, 30 chapters. So we'll be done right around the new year. And it's really neat. We're getting some great artwork. The artist contacted me this morning. Got an artist out of France doing original oil painting. So our
Oh, nice.
cover will be an original oil. Way cool. And so that one, it's okay because I can focus for a day. I do that. The outline is great. And then get back to one of my other 2 books that I'm working on, and that's tough because those are just jam. I'm at 43,000 words on one, and I'm at 5,000 words on the other, and it's I'm thinking 2. I think 2 books at a time is okay. 3 is one step too far
For you.
because kind of pulling me in too many different directions. We have a question.
We have a couple of questions, I think. All right, so the question is, since he's just staring at it, how do you determine if the book series is performing poorly because of blurb, cover, or book quality versus poorly marketing of the series and or book? Man, this is no good, great, easy answer. Some of it, of course, is if you are advertising, you can at least see how many people you're sending to the page. And then from there are some relatively straightforward numbers that you can calculate to find out, how many people do I have to send to the page? Out of those people I send to the page, how many of them actually purchase the book? You get a ratio from that. That ratio is something that you can usually compare against the genre and the pricing so that at least you have some idea there. So if you're marketing, if you're not, if it's taking you hundreds and hundreds of people to get them to the page, okay, now you have a marketing problem. If you're getting them to the page, but they're not buying, well, now we know we have a title, cover, or blurb. You can, ABC test all of those. Once you have accomplished that, you had better be getting at least 1 to 2 reviews per 100 readers. If you're not getting 1 to 2 reviews, or your rank, your review is poor, well, then there you have an answer for that. I mean, that concisely puts the answer to how you break it down. I don't, I mean, any of those can be modified by tactics like, is it quality of writing? Well, do you know somebody in that genre? I mean, a writer who is doing well that's willing to read the first 10 or 15 pages to answer some of this. I mean, don't ask people, especially popular ones, and expect them, hey, man, can you possibly read this book for me? Man, unless they're a good friend of yours, I just, it wouldn't be something I'd do. But I've seen many people do that. I mean, um, those that are well known and they're passing large favors back and forth occasionally. I've never I have done something similar one time with like Dakota and Danielle Kraut. I said, hey, can you ask some of your fans if they could read this, you know, a couple that you trust and understand what they're going to give us back as feedback? Could they read this and give us feedback on X, Y, and Z? I never asked Dakota himself to read it. So, but those are some thoughts, Craig.
Hang on, I got to fucking.
Oh, he said it. He's the first one. I might have said the S word, Elaine, which I do not remember saying.
Oh no,
But
no. Windows was trying to update on me, so I was trying to close out of it. It was like, oh, you want to update now? And I'm like, no, yeah, yeah. It's kind of a. So I was fighting that demon whilst you were in the background, sipping sweet tea and
yeah,
eating
fighting. I
bonbons
was talking. I don't know what
and
you mean by sipping sweet tea.
engaged.
But while we're on this slight subject change, why don't we go ahead and say it? You're Windows, I'm a Mac, and he's froze. There we go. Excellent. I guess he is going to get kicked off. I know, clutching pearls again. So I'm going to assume that he got kicked off. Hoisted. Can people hear me? Can anybody just kind of give me? I'm going to assume I'm going to keep going. All right. So hopefully that helped. The next question: how do you maintain authenticity in relationship with readers when the bottom line is you want them to buy your books? There's nothing wrong with either one of those. I guess I don't have, once again, remember, I'm commercial. I want fans who want to reread my books and I want to make money. I'm not here to spend a bunch of my personal time in order to just provide them stories without being able to feed my family or pay the people that help me make this happen. So there's nothing inauthentic about the relationship. Now, if you're perhaps thinking in your mind, it's like the only reason I want to talk to anyone, because otherwise I'd love to stay in my shell, is I feel like I need it to market, that might be a different question. And if so, there's actually different strategies and tactics you can accomplish to do this. One of which is you can actually grab someone to help be that front person for you. Maybe they're the only individual you can talk to. But you know, going from the wonderful world of Windows, David Fleming. That's hilarious. Mac, which doesn't always work because sometimes my Mac screws up too. But yes, okay. So Windows is now updated from Craig. So from the standpoint of don't assume that you're always saying, "Hey, buy my book," because that's certainly not there. Because you can also say, "Buy my book," merely by telling a story about how you came around selling your book. You know, what's your life doing? How is it different? How is it helping? Does anybody have a story about how it helped them? I put something in the reviews one or in an author note one time, just mentioning how the first time that reviews happen, where you realize that you're touching someone's life because they were in a hospital and your stories helped get them through a hard time, is worth all sorts of money to a person. When you realize that you're going to go to your grave at some point and you're going to think back and your stories helped people in hard times. And guess what? They also bought your book to have that. So now if we want, you know, we can talk about intertwining. So in general, my opinion is there's not an issue with that. All right, let's make sure I didn't go past anyone. So the authenticity of readers is be yourself. Craig made a comment in a recent post about taking down some omnibus editions to focus on the long-term health of these titles. What's that all about? Well, he was referring to my efforts of what was going on down. So Criterion Gambit, of course, has been out now 5 years as of tomorrow. Hey, 5 years anniversary tomorrow. I become a published author 5 years ago tomorrow. So in Criterion Gambit, we've done everything because it's 21 total books in the first series. We've done everything from 3 times 7 books, or we've done seven. Excuse me. Um, we did three or box sets of three and 7 of them, or we've done things like 3 omnibuses of 7 books. And so we've predominantly been at the three sets of 7 books, and we were selling for 19.99, which you will realize is getting us the exact same amount of money if we had sold them for 9.99. But the difference is I didn't want people to buy them. I only wanted really the KENP, and I didn't feel like I wanted to go past, 19.99 because at that point it feels like I'm gouging them. Um, so I left it at 19.99, and we couldn't after it's. I mean, we've advertised a lot of money into this, so a lot of people have seen this, and it's gotten older, gotten stale. And one of the things that we decided to try a few weeks ago was just yank box set one. We didn't want people getting into the box sets, so we wanted to actually push the advertising people, which we were doing already, to book one. When we pulled the box set, a few things happened that all of a sudden became aha moments for myself. The rank on book one went down because that's the only place people could get into the series. Once the rank comes down, it becomes the aha moment. It's like, wait a minute. When Amazon actually sees people going to book one, not then leaving over to box set one and buying it there, but staying on book one and buying it, that's going to start tipping the algorithms to start showing it again, theoretically. It's only been about 2.5, 3 weeks. I haven't totally seen that yet. But it becomes more relevant to believe that I can push the actual individual books harder than I can the box sets. And I can try to start getting the algorithms of Amazon, the infrastructure of Amazon to start pushing book one again, because there are a lot of readers who have no desire for a box set. So if Amazon's showing the box set image, which looks like 7 books all connected together, they'll ignore it. It's just not part of what's going on. So anyway, that's what we're testing right now. So if Craig was talking about that, um, I'm sorry, I just saw someone said I can hear Craig cursing from here. So anyway, if that's what he was talking about, then that was my answer to that one. All right, Craig, question: if I'm considering launching a book in a new genre, but I'm not really a huge seller in our current genre, do I really need a second pen name, or should I just throw it out there and see what happens? Um, Pen names are a cursed situation. You might, I mean, if this was radically different genres, like they're not going to be able to connect together, then I would have a potentially different answer, like erotica. You don't want to mix that one. Welcome back, Craig. If you are going to have something that's relatively close but you still want to give yourself the room, then perhaps what you do is put some initials in there so that later you can break them apart if you so wish to. Otherwise, I'd end up doing it in the same one myself. I didn't have as much of a problem. The only thing I still battle with 5 years later after releasing that first book is whether or not I should have pen named my personal name. Like I just put it out there as Michael Anderle, and now, oh, you use the other Windows laptop? It's Windows backup, second laptop.
It's that
Anyway,
17%. Son of a bitch.
so anyway, I even to this day I sometimes question whether or not I should have done a pen name. But water under the bridge at that point. So a couple of questions for you, Craig, now that you are back. Let's go back to the other one. Was the Theory and Gambit the box set you were talking about where yanking it helps the health of the existing?
It was not, but it was the impetus to do it, and also rarity, because rarity sells. Hey, look at the complete box set. Look at Brandon Sanderson with his leather bound 2-volume set of his first book. So what I'm thinking is pulling down the box set, my complete free trader, which has made a lot of money over the years for me. Pull it down completely and keep it down for like 6 months, and then throw it back up and have a big ad campaign. Now, free trader complete. I mean, I've already got the files already published. All I do is one button and it's published again, and all the reviews come back with it and all that good stuff. And then focus on selling that first book, like you said. Get that first book energized instead of splitting my time with advertising time and money on book one and the complete box set. And if they're overlapping, now I've just paid twice to maybe get one sale. So the value, especially since I'm still targeting KU readers, it makes no difference to them if they read each book and then click, yeah, get the next book and replace this book, like the Netflix infamous, would you like to keep watching? What is there no time in the day? Come on. Of course I want to keep watching. So I've updated the back matter and all the individual books. So I'm going to try it with Free Trader come the new year, and maybe one of the other complete box sets that has been out for a while, and just try to get back into it that way and focus that advertising effort on that first book. And I saw somebody had asked a question about that first in series free. If do they lose momentum if they use this first in series free to get newsletter signups? Do they? Is it better than putting it for free on all the distributors? I tell you what, do both. That's what I do. I have one for free as a newsletter sign up, or they can pay $4.99 and buy it off Amazon. So I give them the option. If they want to just go not be on my newsletter, I'm good with that, or hopped on the newsletter. And if it's perma-free, you get the best of all the worlds, but then focus your advertising on getting them into your newsletter. Just depends what you want to do. Do you have a lot of books after it? This one is a standalone, so it's free.
All right. So going back one, how about the authenticity Elaine Bateman question? How do you maintain authenticity? Okay, damn it, Elaine, use a different word. In relationships with readers when the bottom line is you want them to buy your books. I'd be honest. Please buy my book. And by the way, I'm really cool for this reason.
Yeah, it's people have unprecedented access nowadays, and especially as you become bigger and bigger, because people say, "Hey, I'm fangirling," and it's like this is still me. I mean, I have ex-wives who aren't fangirling, and you have to keep everything in perspective. So by getting them engaged, they know that you're going to charge them for your book. It's not like, hey, I'm going to make all my books free forever because I'm an artist. Good on you, but somebody has to pay the rent. So it's I reference in my author notes a lot that, hey, this is how I make my living. It's not like, hey, I need you to buy my book. No, it's just this is how I make my living. Make it passive voice, so it's not attacking anybody in particular. I gift a few books away every now and then. I have giveaways. I do other things, but still, it comes down to the bottom line. I want you to like me as an author, and this is marketing 101. Is, hey, I like that announcer. I'm going to buy his book. I'm going to buy his product. That's why does a sex sells? Oh man, I like her. I'm going to buy that product. It's being likable and appreciating your readers. It's not just taking them for granted. Hey, I'm being nice just so you'll buy my book. No, you have a conversation. This is like me answering an email, even if it's just a short one. Somebody wrote me a really long email with a lot of plot recommendations, and I looked at it and I'm like, okay, hey, thank you for reading my books is what I sent back to them, and that's simple enough. So just maintain that relationship.
So the question as I'm reading it is, I'm not sure you answer this. Would you give away the first book in your series as ad newsletter sign up, or would you give it to free on online retailers, all of them?
Both.
Well, okay, I guess you could actually in that case. But the challenge is, I'm not sure how many people in KU necessarily see a first book free. Because
yeah, that's right. They aren't marketed to in the same way. That's right.
Yeah.
You
so
have
even
to,
if you went
you
2,
have
3,
to
4,
fill that void.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I don't have a good answer to that. I haven't heard of anyone give any good data from that perspective over the years. We're doing some wide stuff now where first book still works, and we're seeing the first book still works, but you got to be wide to really kind of play in that field. So
yeah, that's Opus X, right?
Yes, that one among others now that we're doing, because we're seeing that it works, and you don't even have to.
And is open.
Hmm?
Are you going to make Opus X book one free? Because you're almost at your 12 titles now, aren't you? Closing in.
Yes, yeah. Early first quarter next year, we'll wrap this puppy up. First book free? You know what? I really don't know what the status is. This is really kind of sad. And this is one of the reasons that becoming a publisher is difficult for yourself, because I see in the income of the company how my portion, the books, my books are less and less and less a portion of the overall. Whereas, obviously it was 100% in the very beginning, and then I was 75%, and then it was getting down to 70%. Of course, my ego is taking a hit every time. So I haven't looked at it because I ended up getting somewhere around 50-50. And I was like, that's okay because, I'm constantly pushing books. And then I do it and I look around and I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm at like 20 something percent, 22%. And I'm like, that's really not what I was expecting. I need to get a move on here, folks. I'm not doing well. So anyway, moving on to the next question, Craig. If a leaves a bad review because of something Amazon did, do you think it would be good for reader relationship to contact? Oh, look how they tied that in. For reader relationship to contact a person with the offer to ship them a signed book. I have an off-the-cuff response to what's yours. My off-the-cuff response is be you. You be you. Because if you do it now and it upsets you, it pisses you off to have to go through the process, you're going to get pissed off because that person's going to tell two people, and now you created a brand. You need to act that brand, or you become an asshole, which is even worse. So if it's not you to do it, then find out digitally how they can get a hold of them and create a worksheet, and maybe give them as like, hey, here's what I can do. Here's how you get that replaced, and here's a very unique short story that I give out only to the people who've been screwed. And then that way, there's a digital way to do it, and that's not so debilitating because going out to the post office is really a pain in the ass for me.
The
How
the
do you?
the
Hmm?
the big challenge is delineating who has been led astray by a bad file on Amazon vice something in your control.
Yeah.
And that is the challenge with reaching the right people. So when there's been an issue, I've just shotgunned on my email, my newsletter. It's the best way I have to get a hold of the vast majority of my readers. Is just, hey, here's an apology. This was out of my control, but it's still my book, and I take ownership for the miscue. And here's a short story for free, or something like that. Take ownership and move on. Hey, I'll do my best to not have this happen next time. And this is where it's really nice to have the assetless pre-orders where you don't have to upload a holder file that then gets sent out to everybody. You're like, what the hell? I uploaded the new file, and that you don't have to do that anymore. So just make sure you upload one file and it's the right file. And sometimes accidents happen, and you apologize and move on. It's the only thing you can do because you can't move back in time.
Hmm. Elaine, the answer to your question is that's Michael Anderle. Michael Anderle. Like Criterion Gambit used to be such a major portion. Unfortunately, for aforementioned reasons, it's not. But that doesn't include Michael Todd, which is one of my pen names. It doesn't include another pen name that I have. So that's just, I didn't clarify that, I guess, well enough. But I have additional pen names that all add up into this. And then, of course, collaboration.
Yeah, yeah.
We pay well over six figures in collaboration monthly.
And your Chuck Tingle pen is doing pretty well. I mean, it's very
I'm not
prolific.
even remotely Chuck Tingle. You're the one who brought him up. I didn't even know about him till you brought him up. And even though I tried to throw you under the bus to Wendy over in Bali last year, that didn't work out very well.
Failed miserably. How do you get reviews on your first book? Write your second book. The I have no magic bullet for your first book. You can advertise it. You can take out Facebook ads. You can spend a lot of money, a lot more than that first book might make. And everything's caveated probably because some first books take off. Most of them do not, because you have to build that readership. You have to get the fans on board. So maybe your cover might not be great because it's your first cover and you had it really artworky and not good cover art. Your blurb might be more of a synopsis. You have to work up and get that blurb right where it's ad copy, because you're selling them the book. You're not explaining, here's what the book's about. This isn't an academic paper. And then you have to write a great book. So So I sold like 53 copies of my first book. So I can't tell you how to sell a lot of copies of that first book.
That was to your
Besides,
dad.
I sold probably 50 to my dad. So needless to say, I got no reviews. I sold a buttload of that first book later after I sold it to the licensed the rights to a traditional publisher, an imprint of Simon and Schuster, and became a bigger and bigger name. So you may sell a lot of copies of that first book, but you may not sell them right away. So this is the thing. What can you do? Write a second book. Be a force. If you look through Amazon, and I'll do this, and I'll see some authors, and I'll click on their author page, and I'll see they have one book. It's like, okay, are you serious about it being an author? And I see that that first book was published in 2015. Pretty much a lot of readers will not read that book because they're not expecting a second book. A lot of people love that, hey, multiple books. So I'm a fan of establishment, because also if it's a book from 2015 and there's no reviews on the book, it's like, okay, it's I don't know what to think. There's no social proof. There's nothing. The author hasn't come back, so the author was disappointed or something like that. It's setting myself up for disappointment. So the best advice I can give is just write that next book. And I don't have that magic bullet.
You can set it to free. Use your Amazon free days to try to get people to get more people into it. Usually reviews are contingent on how many people have read it. It is a ratio
Yes.
of that. You can in your author notes say, hey, indie authors live and die by the blood of the reviews that are being left. You can try to ask without being, hey, I really need you to, being horrible about it. So there's multiple different ways to try. You can certainly hire a reviews agency. I've never done that. I'd be certainly willing to do it if I thought it was efficient, effective, and got us quality reviews for our costs. But otherwise, it's a street team.
But that wouldn't be on Amazon. These
Yeah.
are reviews on their site. So just understand, nobody's buying reviews here.
Oh no, no, that's not what I intended. It's actually there's a well-known service where you pay to put your book available to people who are willing to read it, because Amazon does allow to say, hey, you can give out books in order to hopefully get reviews. They just have to actually be honest reviews. You're not buying someone going, oh, this is the most wonderful book in the world. No, that wasn't the expectation.
That's a
I've never,
Kirkus, and
yeah,
people pay a fair
yeah.
price for those.
Well,
Kirkus
actually, I
is
guess.
one. There's one other.
Yeah, Publishers Weekly has a version of like a Kirkus review, but the one I was specifically thinking about though is a company that says, hey, and it's not cheap, by the way. We announce your book to a bunch of readers who are constantly looking to read books, and they understand that in general, the goal is that they should be providing a review for a free chance to read your book. Now, the review, they don't guarantee if it's going to be good, bad, or indifferent because it depends on the quality of your book. So, but we've never done that, so I can't give any answer to that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the statement relevant to have 3 or so finished and ready to go before hitting publish. So I don't know. Is there a point to alerting Amazon on the 1-star review because the book was falling to bits? I would certainly maybe do a response. I mean, I'm not against actually responding to fans in reviews. There used to be a big thing when I first came on board 5 years ago. The reviews are for the fans. You never answer in reviews, and I'm not exactly known for taking the common wisdom anyway. So I haven't. I'll respond occasionally to some of the reviews and just answer just because I want to. And I really don't know good, bad, or indifferent. And I think it's hilarious that Elaine now comes clean that she said Bella Force was at Bali and it spiraled out of control. You deserve that, all of it.
Yes. Yeah. Look for that new Bella Forest title. You won't find it. I'm thinking having 3 or so finished before hitting publish. That is fraught with risk because of unless you know that first book is going to sell. Like if I did that, I know I'm going to be able to get X number of sales on that first book. And then the second book, I have 2 books sitting, waiting, ready to publish. One for November 30th, December 26th. Both are read, both are proofread, both are bound, one is even already in audio. So just waiting for that simultaneous release on November 30th. But I know that I've published enough books. If you haven't published any books before, you have now spent all that time writing 3 books, and you don't know if that first one's going to sell. And that first one has to sell for the books 2 and 3 to sell. You're not going to sell book 2 and book 3 if nobody's buying book 1. So you kind of already have to be comfortable with the game of how do you get that book out there. Now with 3 books, yes, you can put one for free, and now you can free Booksy. You can run free days on Amazon if you're in Select. You can make it perma-free if you're wide. You can do a lot of things if you have 3 books in a series with that first book. You can put it on sale for 99 cents. You can bind it up and have all 3 books as an omnibus edition. There's all kinds of things you can do with 3 books, but it still helps if you know that first book is good. And this is the challenge if you haven't published any books before, because generally it takes people a little bit of time to get good at something. And writing a book is almost just like anything else. So you have to make sure that first book's good, whether through a bunch of readers, reading group, through some way, and then understand that you still need to market it. Just putting out 3 books isn't going to be magic by itself to get people to come on board.
Also, one of the things we didn't talk about a lot, years ago was pre-orders, because there was a lot of give and take. Presently, the wisdom is if you have 3 or you have 3 covers, you might actually look at doing pre-orders. And so people are more aware. Those will show up in your author list. It will look like, and fans will know, potential readers will believe you're coming clean. It used to be we didn't do pre-orders. So if you put out book 1, there was no book 2 until book 2 actually hit. Well, then, were they to be trusting you? But if you know that you're going to 3, you've already basically going to have a lot of the core written. Just set up pre-orders, and then you can kind of sort of get the best of both worlds.
That's another way to establish that you're here for real, as opposed to I'm putting out 1 book, and if nobody buys it, then I'm not going to write books 2 and 3. Yeah. That's kind of breaking a contract with your readers. If you have the books 2 and 3 on pre-order, even if they're 6 months down the road, it says 3 books are coming in this series, and that's cool, because then people can buy in and give that first book a look, which that's what you want them to do, to then look and keep looking.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to have any discussions on your Windows problem? Do you want to admit to anything at the moment? I just want to make sure if you'd like to get off your chest.
91%. I'm glad I was able to get on and still be on, because now I've got the button where I can end us. Otherwise, it would have gone on in infinity. People would have been looking at you, and you'd have been you stood up, and people realize you're in your underwear, and like, oh my God.
Okay,
and then people are screen capturing.
No. Jeans on, man. What the hell are you talking about? So apparently I do not wish you to stand up.
Oh no, I'm okay. I've got sweatpants on. Did I tell you it was
harassing me? What the hell is that?
It's minus 5 now. I went outside right before I got on with you, and minus 5. And so I went out in my shorts earlier when it was minus 1, and that was just a little bit cold. The northern lights were out this morning. It was great because it's crystal clear. The thing with up here is it warms up to snow, but then you get clouds because it's snowing. And so when it cools down, when the temperatures dive, it means it's crystal clear out. So the northern lights were out, and it was just a beautiful sky. But it was just chilly, and I was just in my shorts. So I put these on to go out right before we got on.
More information that I wanted to know. What's that white and green thing behind you? I have to know now that you like moved around and it looked like an old version.
Oh, this is my oxygen generator. So if I'm having a rough day, that cranks me up to 90% oxygen. I can get a juiced. Hang on just a second. My other computer wants to come back up. I'm trying to get it to sense my face. Okay. I'm on. I'm in.
So at least you get shut us down. Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's what it expects to see. The hands.
Actually, you know what? Because you had been, I don't know which computer you're on, but you had purchased one of the Windows computers where I spent more on a Microsoft Windows laptop than I spent on a Mac. And I was quite, I mean, because this was a really great computer. Um, the mouse or the mouse pad, touchpad wasn't quite as good as what I was used to, but it was really kind of compelling. But the ability to see your face, which Mac did not have at that time, really loved it. Really loved it. Wish my Mac did that now. You know, I have to go and reach up there and touch shit and stuff. Is that it? No, I can't tell. The might take several
No, this is
minutes.
no. That's my Surface Pro tablet. the
I
the
get
one
a
the
little
one
bit
I bought from
confused.
you, this high end laptop
Oh, that's right.
PC. That's the one we're on now. So unfortunately,
But
my
you
internet
can't.
is playing nice and we're live.
Yeah. So, but the problem that you have, even though it's the more powerful computer, for some reason it won't update Windows and give you because there's no complaint. They're both Microsoft products, so they have to work theoretically.
They will.
And but you get half the speed on the faster laptop than you get on the slower laptop. Gets twice the internet speed.
Half the internet speed for some reason, even though this is again today. I'm good on this one today. Maybe there's something else that it didn't update, and we'll see how the little guy does after the update. But we're good now. Okay, it's been an hour. We have meandered about. We answer some questions. Anything compelling that people really want to hear about
For me,
in the
you
last
are.
minute or two?
Oh yeah, so they can do there. I was going to say because as you're well aware, I'm pretty clueless with what's going on in the back alleys and rumors and poker rooms of the industry. So I was like, I don't know.
The the thing, it's November. It's NaNoWriMo or NaNoWriMo, as I say. Hey, um, because
Notice that he's
it's
the one
it's
who did that.
it's
Chuck
it's
Tingle
it's whatever
just
you want to
saying.
call it. 50,000 words written in this month, starting today. Good luck for those who are participating.
Absolutely.
I've got words this morning. I count them and I keep track, but not through a separate portal. So good luck to everyone. I think Pamela Kelly posted this morning. Jamie Davis will be posting every day from here on out through the month with a motivational and count updates and stuff like that. So we'll keep all the nano posts in one place, all into the comments to the admin posts. Keep pressing. Yes, it's depressing because next week 8 days is when the show would have started, but 20 Books Vegas, but Sam Sound canceled on us. But the good news is we are set up for 2021 to be a massive and happy show, and look forward to
Yeah.
that. The food places will be jamming, and we're going to be in there eating. I mean, having a great conference. So, so there we are,
Come, come
and we do
full,
have some
leave
we do
hungry.
have some presentations. Dave Farland has recorded a presentation and will be uploading that this week or next. Um, John Truby is doing a Rescue Your Story Rescue presentation of like 2 hours. It'll be live and interactive. He's going to run that. He'll give us the link, and it's for our people. So I'll post it on the 20 Books Vegas 2020 group for people to sign up and be ready to watch and interact with him on that. So hopefully get up there and get your story checked out. So some more things coming this week. Next week, we are not doing a virtual con, but we are going to upload videos and stuff like that when we have them, and hopefully keep you educated, entertained, and moving forward in your self-publishing career. All right, everybody, you have a great day, and we will talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.